Yes, it is Larry Sharpe. Here I am. It is a little after 7 p.m. on the East Coast. And yes, I'm here with you this evening on a Friday. Look at me. Do I have no life except you guys? That's not necessarily a bad thing, right? So, yes, I'm here. Happy to have you with me this evening. And the most important thing I'm going to talk about today is a little bit of I told you so, but also some updates and, again, a look towards the future. Sadly, I have often been right, usually right in my predictions, not always, but usually right. And I tend to keep the receipts so that I can show you that I wasn't just talking trash, that it actually was happening. So some of that's going to happen today. If you didn't know, some of you may or may not know, with the recent Supreme Court rulings, New York State jumped right into action. Of course it did. Our governor, Kathy Hochul, she's not going to put up with no stupid Supreme Court. She's going to show them who's boss, and she's not playing. And of course, she has our assembly and our state senate right in her pocket. So everything's moving forward swimmingly. And I'm going to show you kind of what I told you about, how they were going to, without question, counterattack when it came to guns and abortion in New York State. And you might say to yourself, Larry, I don't live in New York State. Why do I care? And that is a smart question. And let me give you a smarter answer. And that answer is, it's coming to you next. That's why. If New York makes it work, you will watch other states copy New York. And more importantly, you might see Democrats get desperate before Election Day and start copying New York in an attempt to show some strength, and they're going to get their people and all that kind of good stuff. You might see some of that too. So this is why it matters. This is why I talk about the value of changing culture. This is why I talk about the value of changing hearts and minds. This is why I talk about it. And you will see this in just like a minute or two. But one thing to remember, please, of course, always like and share and comment. It does matter. Please, if you know it's going to be good, and it's going to be good. So do that. If you want to support me, there are 3 ways you can do that besides liking, commenting, and sharing. 3, you can join my cool Discord server. Yes, click that link right there. It is the bit.ly link, Larry Sharpe Discord. Click and join my Discord server if you like. That's awesome. If you're on Discord, please do that. If you're not, no worries. You can donate. LarrySharpe.com/donate. Let's get some cash going so we can keep this campaign rocking and rolling. And of course, if you want to buy some cool merch, like this cool shirt that I have right here, you can head over to LarrySharpe.com/sharp. So any of those is great if you want to help out. Let me, if I can, walk down a little bit, if I could, what she actually said. Let me show you what she actually said in her press conference today. Like this was hot off the presses, which is why I decided maybe it's why I decided that maybe I should do something today. It's hot off the presses. So let me share this right now if I can. Let me see if I can do this right. All righty. Here we go. She is serious. Here we go.
What we had to do, we had already called an extraordinary session, and they literally are called extraordinary sessions.
She called it in.
To deal with the cessation of our right to deal with concealed carry guns the way we choose to after 100 years.
See that?
I'll talk about that in a minute. But as part of our fighting back to protect women's reproductive freedoms here.
See, this is the thing that's important. I think she honestly believes this. I could be wrong. Maybe she doesn't believe it. But for sure, the rhetoric is working. She feels like she's fighting back for us. She does. And the funny thing is, most New Yorkers actually believe it.
In the state of New York, at 2 a.m., I issued a proclamation.
Look at her smile with that proclamation. I issued a proclamation. Oh, she's loving this power. I issued a proclamation. Kneel before your queen.
Say that in this extraordinary session, we'll not only deal with the issue of making changes in our law to deal with the concealed carry decision last week, but also to allow for there to be an amendment to our state constitution to protect the rights that we hold dear in the state, the right to reproductive freedom. The Equality Amendment, which Senator Liz Krueger has been a champion for years and years and years.
Now, I got to give her this. This actually is brilliant, right? To be forward, I disagree. However, I'm going to give credit where credit is due. This is brilliant. The Equality Amendment in New York State is supposed to be an amendment to our Constitution that makes everything equal, right? The Equality Amendment, which sounds amazing. But they threw in the Equality Amendment, which will now be in our Constitution in New York State. Now, to be forward, in law in New York State, we have already made abortion legal to the 9th month, right? That's already where we are in New York State already. But we're going to put this in the Constitution now. We are not playing games. And this is the worst part about this. For those of you who know, the Roe v. Wade decision did nothing in New York State. I mean, New York State has already codified it. We're literally a pro-abortion state. People come to our state to get abortions. We're already there. Like it did nothing. And she still acted. She was like, what? This has affected nothing? We're not affected at all? More laws. And she said, a law is not enough. I'm going to do a constitutional amendment. And in that constitutional amendment, in the Equality Amendment, which is supposed to be just to make everybody equal, she's going to add in there, I'm not joking, not only a right for New Yorkers to get an abortion, but a right in the Constitution for non-New Yorkers to come here to get an abortion and to protect the abortion providers from anything that happens outside. I'm not joking. That's part of the Equality Amendment. That's some good stuff right there. I mean, that's amazing. That's amazing right there. And to see that happen and to see most New Yorkers will be totally okay with that and watch it happen goes right to my point I bring up all the time. When people go, my rights, who cares? It's my rights. You need to care because New Yorkers are voting your rights away. Literally every day. They are voting your rights away every day. Why do you think I spend my time trying to convince people to come our way? If I don't convince them, I just yell and call them names. They're going to keep voting with her.
There's finally received word at 2 a.m. that there had been a conceptual agreement between the two houses, and that's when we took the action to allow
both sides
of this during this time frame that we have.
That's Republicans fighting back right there.
Today, and it's being worked on now. And that basically permits discrimination on a number of, I guess, a number of reasons, including pregnancy and pregnancy outcome.
See that? She made discrimination based upon pregnancy or pregnancy outcome. I mean, that's brilliant. I didn't think that pregnancy or pregnancy outcome was a thing you could discriminate on. In New York, now even that. So it's not just race, it's not just ethnic background, not just religion, not just gender. Now it's even on pregnancy status or pregnancy outcome. I mean, that's some good stuff right there. That's amazing.
And so that is going to protect reproductive health in the state of New York for generations to come, and we'll continue with the legislature to get over the finish line, which we expect.
To be clear, it's already totally legal in New York State. Already.
Hopefully in the next few
This
hours.
is like I'm making illegal guns illegaler. I'm making legal abortion more legal. It's legaler than ever.
I'm working hard, wrapping things up, and now the assembly is in session. So dealing with that, middle of the night, made the adjustment. Good news. Happy to wrap that one up.
Not sure that's good news,
but
okay.
Also, the purpose we gathered after I heard the Supreme Court decision last Thursday. Seems like an eternity ago. We heard that, and I said, I will bring back this session. I will get the legislature back, and we'll start up again and to adapt and make the changes necessary after the Supreme Court overturned our concealed carry law. Again, on the books.
Yep.
On the books in the state, working well, working successfully.
See, she's saying, welcome. I love what she says. She says, all these gun laws we've had, working well, working successfully for 100 years. If that's true, and let's assume for a second that it's true, why do we need a SAFE Act? Why do we need red flag laws? Why do we have to outlaw ghost guns? Why did she have to pass literally 10 anti-gun laws just a couple of weeks ago? If this has been working so well, why do we require all of these? The things she says are blatantly wrong, lies, make no sense, and no one questions her. If it was working so well, which she just said, for 100 years, why do we need any other laws?
For over 100 years. And because with the stroke of a pen, they removed longstanding limitations that
you make proclamations, but they with a stroke of a pen.
Able to use in the state of New York to make smart decisions on who should have the right to carry a weapon.
See that?
Literally, concealed carry means a hidden weapon.
A hidden weapon.
And so we believe that gun laws like those have made New York State safer and has made us the 5th lowest. It's the
Yeah, someone gave her a stat and she doesn't know what the stat is. Because she didn't actually learn it. She doesn't actually know the stat. So she's just kind of figuring it out right now.
the lowest, I'm going to get this right, 5th lowest state in the nation in terms of firearm-related deaths.
Yes. Now, this is accurate. What she says is accurate, but it's misleading. What she says is New York State is the 5th lowest state when it comes to firearm deaths. That's accurate. However, the vast majority of firearm deaths are suicide. Now, New York is very lucky in this regard. We have a very low suicide rate. It's something like the second lowest. I mean, we're in the top 5. New York State has a very low suicide rate. So that makes that firearm death number go higher. In reality, if you look at murders, we're around 25. Yes, gun murders, we're around 25 out of 50. With the strictest, I don't want to judge, the strictest gun laws in the country, we're at 25 when it comes to gun murders. She's not saying that. What she's saying is gun deaths. So her stat is true. It's just misleading because we have a very low suicide rate in New York State, which skews that number. But when it comes to shooting somebody dead, we're like 25.
Okay, reminder, there's 50 states.
Yeah, in case you didn't know that.
New York State, with our sensible gun safety laws.
Sensible gun safety laws gets us rated 25 out of 50 in gun murder. Not impressive. Not impressive. If with our gun laws, as sensible as you say, we should be like the safest from gun murder in the country, shouldn't we? At least top 5. We barely break top 25 when it comes to gun murder. And I'm saying this out loud. If you don't look at that, you can look at that if you want to. That data's in. Again, suicide, New York State is very good when it comes to suicide. That skews the numbers.
Including the concealed carry law we had on the books for 100 years, had us as the 5th lowest in the nation in terms of firearm-related deaths. So the CDC national data shows that there's far fewer people killed in states like New York, where we have strong gun laws, compared to other states that have very limited, if any, restrictions.
Utterly not true. Suicide, yes, not including suicide. We care about violence in the street, which is what she's talking about. She's talking about violence in the streets, but now her data is suicide data.
Who can receive guns, background checks, concealed carry opportunities. New York State has a small number, 5 per 100,000 of deaths from firearms. Now, how does that compare with other states? Mississippi has 28.6 deaths per 100,000. Louisiana, 26 per 100,000. Miami, 20. I can go on and on. So those are the states that have minimal gun safety restrictions.
And they also have very high suicide rates. The states she mentions have very high suicide rates. Take away the suicide rate and look at that. It's a little different.
Restrictions, minimal compared to us. And what has happened? The whole argument that the more people who have weapons will stop the bad guys with a gun because the good guy has a gun. You've heard this argument?
Yep.
It doesn't work.
Okay, so no cops? So no cops then? She's literally saying it doesn't work, so no cops. So no cops? Because cops are good guys with guns, right? Doesn't work. No cops. Okay, she wants to defund the police. I got it. Defund the police. I'm
the
okay.
Data shows that is a false argument. We have the statistics that show that.
No, we don't.
Because
That's
the takeaway
suicide.
we get from those data is that you're 4 or 5 times more likely to be killed by guns in those states than you are in the state of New York.
Yes.
And there's another important statistic that I want to share with you.
Tell me.
And this is the one about states that perform their own background check, something I'll be talking about.
Keep reading this stuff they just gave you.
When it's passed. States that perform their own background checks.
Yeah.
Now, right now, the federal government has their own backgrounds, point of contact, point of sale.
Yep.
You want to purchase a
background check,
pistol,
yes.
for example, you have to go through a very quick background check.
And this is a bad thing in her eyes, right? You go through a background check quickly, and then you can then buy a gun quickly. And her bad thing. That's a bad thing in her eyes.
Point of sale. So the states that actually are doing it on their own, and I believe there's 13 states that do it on their own, instead of relying just on the federal database, and what does this give you access to? When states do it on their own, they have a 27% reduction in firearm suicides and a 22% reduction overall homicides. So what's clear is there's also an opportunity for states that are serious about protecting their citizens.
Okay, you don't even have a decent database in the state. Like, you have to physically go to physical counties individually. We don't have a good database
like
in the
New York,
state.
Where we can say we should be able to take this over. We don't need the feds to do the work. We will do it here in the state of New York, where we can have access to our state database as well as the federal database.
Look at that. We can just create more government jobs to do this. I love that. One thing she's good at always is making more government jobs and giving out more government money. This is her skill set. Her skill set, right? I got to tell you, while Cuomo had a lot more charisma than she has, that's true. However, she is the job giver. She is the job giver like there's no tomorrow. She creates all brand new this, brand new that, and all her friends get all types of jobs left and right. She's a job giver.
I just want to demonstrate again through statistics, because the data will tell the story.
No, it won't.
So we're talking about the need for more common sense gun safety measures.
It's just common sense, guys.
Because think about this scenario.
Tell me.
In light of the Supreme Court.
Tell me the scenario that's such common sense. She's a common sense person, people. I don't know what's wrong with you guys getting all mad about this. It's common sense. Of course it is.
Decision just did. Imagine you're on a crowded subway.
Okay. Crowded subway. Gotcha.
And you bang into somebody inadvertently.
I bang into somebody.
Tempers flare.
Tempers
and
flare.
The person that you banged into happens to be carrying a concealed weapon.
Literally happens every day in New York City. I don't have to imagine that. That happens every day in New York City. Literally every day. Like last night, there was a guy shot. Like 2 days ago, like 7 guys beat up a guy, pulled out a gun. That's like every day. Who's imagining that?
Imagine you're in a bar.
Okay.
Someone starts a fight.
Yeah.
They have a concealed weapon on them.
Yeah. This happened like 2 days ago. I don't know. Imagine this. This dystopian future you speak of is today. Like, this is happening. I live in New York City. This is today. What are you talking? Imagine if there's people with hidden guns. They're everywhere. Watch the news.
Imagine you're in Times Square visiting with your family.
Yeah.
You're on the way to a show with your family, and you're surrounded by people with concealed weapons.
I would feel safer than ever. I think I've told you this story, guys. Some of you may know this story. And the reason why I bring this up was I know most of this audience is pro 2A. Not all of you are. I know some of you are, and I do get a little bit of hate from some of you. But I know most of you are pro 2A, and I get that. I show you this stuff so that when you hear me give you pushback on going too far on the Second Amendment, you don't think I'm crazy. I mean, you probably think I'm crazy, but you understand where I'm coming from. The vast majority of New Yorkers agree with her. They agree with what she's saying. Most do. They're the ones who are going to support her again. She's saying this stuff. She's been talking about this forever. And I want something to understand something very important. There was a primary 3 days ago, right? 4 days ago, 3 days ago. There was a primary. And in this primary, there were 3 people who ran a Democratic primary and 4 who ran the Republican primary. Let me say it again. 3 people ran a Democratic primary for governor. 4 ran in the Republican primary for governor. Kathy Hochul, the woman who's talking now, talking this insanely dumb stuff now, in a 3-way race, she got more votes than all 4 of the Republican candidates combined. Let me say that one more time so you're clear. This woman right here, who's talking this common sense garbage in New York State, in a statewide primary, got more votes in a 3-way race, just her alone, than all 4 of the Republican candidates combined. When I say this state is almost 3-1 Democrat to Republican, I'm not joking. The data that she's talking about is in. People care. People like this stuff. We have to turn them. We have to get them to understand how bad this is. We have to have real conversations. because what happens here is coming to your state. I tell you all the time, New York State is the battleground state. I'm not making that up. I'm showing you. I'm showing you right now. New York State, the battleground state. Who else is talking this trash right now? Right now, nobody. Right now, New York only. Watch the rest of the states follow. And if this goes well, watch national all of a sudden decide we're going to end the filibuster and copy Kathy Hochul. Watch that happen.
Does that make you feel more or less safe?
More safe. If I was surrounded by my friends who all have firearms, I'd be like, I didn't even tell a story. I'm sorry. There was a situation, maybe, I don't know, several years ago, maybe 4 years ago, 3 years ago. I was in Oklahoma, and they have much more open gun laws in Oklahoma, obviously. And I'm at a fundraiser with some friends, guys running for governor, and many people it was in someone's home, a fundraiser in someone's home. And many people, they were carrying. Some open, some concealed, but many were carrying. You could see many of them were carrying. And someone took a picture of us, and you could see some people were carrying there. And I brought the picture home, or it was online or something. And some of my New York friends were like, "Oh my God, Larry, is that you?" I said, "Yeah." Like, "Are those guns?" I went, "Yeah." They went, "Weren't you afraid?" I was like, "No. Why would I be afraid? It's the safest. I'm the safest I could possibly be. Me and a bunch of people I know who are all armed. If something bad happens, oh my God, that person's gonna have a really, they are gonna have a bad night. So yeah, I was as happy as can be. So yes, I'd be happy. I absolutely would be. So anyway.
I think we all know the answer to those questions.
I do know the answer.
And again, the numbers don't lie. According to data published 2 days ago.
Tell me.
2 days ago by the National Bureau of Economic Research, there's a 29% increase in firearm violent crimes when citizens are given the right to carry handguns. I will repeat that.
Tell me.
29% increase in firearm violent crimes when citizens are given the right to carry handguns.
So when citizens are given the right, you don't really have a right, do you?
So that brings us here to today.
Tell me.
As you know, many of you covered the fact that just a couple weeks ago, we signed nation-leading laws into place, the toughest gun laws in America.
Yes. So why are you doing more? Yes. If that 100-year thing was working so well, why did you just sign literally 10 new laws against guns and gun owners?
You have to be older to buy an AR-15, no longer an 18-year-old. We expanded our red flag laws, and we're doing whatever it takes to protect our citizens. But what this...
Now, hold on. Look, I'm going to give you some pushback from the Republican side now, too. The Republicans talking about, we're going to fire DAs who don't do what we say when we win the governorship. Do you want her to start firing DAs? Why in the world would you want a governor to start firing district attorneys when you must realize that the odds are people like her are going to be your governor? Now, am I against bad DAs? I am. But the answer is not for the governor to decide. The answer is to allow for a removal process, right? They should be able to be removed. I don't have a problem with recalling DAs, but local people should be policed how they want to be policed. So allow local people to recall their DAs. You can't do that in New York. That's a good thing about California. I will give California credit where credit is due. That's a good law. Being able to recall your DA is a good idea. We should have that here. Not let the governor decide which DA they want. No, if you don't like your DA, you can recall your DA. That's a good answer. But if you're happy with the way you're being policed, keep your policing the way you want it to be.
Supreme Court did in the Bruin decision is totally, absolutely 100% out of touch with what New Yorkers want.
She's actually right here, right? And this is the part that I know some of you get mad when I say it. You get upset. New Yorkers aren't happy with this. They don't want it. They support her. New Yorkers support her.
And what they need. So over this last week, I mentioned round the clock, extraordinary team, extraordinary hard work in preparation of an extraordinary session. My team has been working with our partners to craft gun safety legislation.
Yep.
And as a result of our quick work and collaboration with my partners, again, Majority Leader Andre Stewart-Cousins.
Her partners are all just government
people. Our state will continue to keep New Yorkers safe from harm, even despite this setback from the Supreme Court.
So now we're going to put into the Constitution something that's already legal. We're going to make abortion up to the 9th month double legal in New York now. And in our Constitution, give rights to people who aren't New Yorkers who come to New York to get an abortion. I'm not joking. That's literally going to be in our Constitution now. But now it's more. Now she's like, well, I took care of the abortion stuff, these stupid Supreme Court people. Now let me take care of the guns. I'm going to take care of that.
So minutes ago, maybe probably an hour ago now, the Senate passed our proposed bill by vote of 43 to 20.
There we go.
I've outlined you a couple days ago. I outlined our conceptual agreements. But we've
Sounds like some Republicans said yes too.
Now that they're about to become law, I want to go through them again. We are creating a definitive list of sensitive locations.
A definitive list of sensitive locations. Yes. Now, hold on. I know that sometimes I do some I told you so. Well, I'm going to do a little I told you so right now. Little I told you so right now. This is from about a week ago. Listen to what I said. This is me on me. Had a cool shirt there, though. Remember something, guys. I know some of you are thinking in New York, well, now we can just carry all over the place. Don't do that. You'll go into jail. This is how New York State works. I don't want you in jail. I need you out of jail fighting with me. So please don't go to jail. Still don't come to New York with your gun. You're still going to jail. Remember, this does not say you can't create areas. They did say something like, if I remember right, you can't make Manhattan, you can't make an island and a whole county because I called it areas, she's calling its own an area. But they can still say things like airports or whatever. They can still do that stuff. So this isn't as far as we would hope, but it is closer. So first step, thank you. I told you they'd make areas. I told you they'd basically they would basically destroy it anyway by making these special areas. She calls them sensitive zones. Again, very nice words, but just means you can't bring a gun there. I did warn you. I told you.
Where individuals will not be able to carry firearms.
Yeah, listen.
Common sense.
Common sense. This is just common sense, guys. Why are you fighting? It's common sense.
Schools, summer camps, libraries, daycares, parks, and playgrounds.
Wow. Daycares, parks. Okay, good. Keep going.
Children gather.
Any place children gather. And she's not done.
Theaters, museums, entertainment venues.
Theaters, museums, entertainment venues. So any place children gather, any entertainment venue.
Places of worship or with religious observation.
Places of worship. So basically, so far, you can't take your gun any place.
Polling places, educational institutions.
Educational institutions, polling places. Can we shop?
And health and medical facilities.
Oh, health and medical. So don't have a gun and get shot. Don't have a gun and have a car accident. Don't have a gun and have a heart attack because you take your gun to the hospital, you're going to jail. You're going to Rikers Island. You'll first go to the emergency room, then go to Rikers Island.
Federal, state, local government buildings.
Government buildings.
Homeless and domestic violence shelters.
Homeless and domestic. And the list keeps going. It's basically every place except middle of the street.
Places where alcohol is consumed, restaurants, bars.
Places where alcohol is consumed, restaurants, and bars.
Public transportation, subway, buses, airports.
All public transportation. So, you can conceal carry, except everywhere.
And at public demonstrations and rallies. And
no public demonstrations. Don't get caught in a parade. You're going to jail. Don't get caught in a parade. Don't forget when you go to a store, your gun, you're going to jail. I said before, don't bring your gun to New York City. I wasn't joking. You're still going to Rikers Island. But my rights, Larry, I guess you can complain about your rights when you're in Rikers Island, literally the most violent jail in the entire nation. That's where you're going.
And in Times Square.
And Times Square. All of that in Times Square. Every place in Times Square.
no open carry, the default position for private businesses. That means that any business,
So there's
store,
no
retail,
open carry in businesses at all.
Private home, place that wants to allow guns on their premises will have to demonstrate that and establish that they put a sign out there that says concealed carry guns are welcome here.
So if you don't have a sign that says concealed carry welcome here, if you don't have that sign and you go to any place that doesn't have that sign, you go into jail. So you can go out any place. You just can't take a bus or a train or a plane there. You can't do that. You got to walk. Don't get caught in a parade. Don't have an accident and go to the hospital. Don't do any of that. Don't entertain yourself or go to a restaurant and eat. Don't do that unless there's a store that says with a thing, concealed carry welcome here. The one thing you will know is if anyone has a concealed carry welcome here, that store is not getting robbed. That's all I'm saying. That's the one store not getting looted. That store's not getting looted, right? The rest of them are all going to be burned to the ground. That one's going to be sitting there by itself, not looted. But literally, someone just asked, is this for the entire state or New York City? The entire state. She's the governor. This covers the entire state. I told you guys are like, yeah, we want. Like, no. She's going to stop that. She's stopping both. This is the battleground state. I don't know how many times I've tell you this. It is. I keep showing you, and you keep thinking, we're going to go vote for the Republican or the Democrat because they'll save us. No. Most New Yorkers are behind her, and they hate Republicans. Two types of people win this race coming up here in New York State. An outsider, you're looking at the only outsider running, or her. That's it. That's it.
Don't know how many we'll see, but that's exactly, we're going to give them the option. Because what we're trying to do is protect the legitimate rights of private property owners.
Look at that. She's libertarian. Do you hear her? She's protecting the legitimate rights of property owners. I love it. I love that she says the opposite of what she then wraps it up with. So I'm going to punch you in the face, kick you in the eye, pick you up and throw you off a roof because I care about the sanctity of your health. That's what she just said. I'm going to come in, burn your house to the ground because I care about your house. And people are like, yeah, she cares about legitimate property. Legitimate, as in who decides what's legitimate? Oh, right, the proclamation person, you.
By telling them they don't have to have someone walk into their establishment with a concealed weapon, ramping up their anxiety, causing great concern, and they don't deserve that. We are respecting private property owner rights.
See that? They respect private property owner rights. I didn't know she was libertarian. She must be reading some, maybe she's reading a little bit of Rothbard or something. I don't know. Nice.
We're standing up for their rights, the business owner, the rights of their patrons, the rights of their employees.
All the rights.
The rights of the public.
Here's how I'm taking away all your rights. Because I'm standing up for all those rights I'm taking away.
We're also going to be expanding the disqualifying criteria for a permit.
There we go. Remember I said that the state should become a shall permit versus a may permit? She's like, no, not only is it a may permit, but it's a less may than ever. Some of you got so mad at me on my website, man, Larry, you and your 90 days and turning it to a shall. She's making it worse. I'm just trying to make it to where we can just have a firearm. She's making it worse. She's making it harder to get a permit. Now, here's what I'm going to say one more time. And if you're a New Yorker, you should tell all your friends this. This really matters if you're a New Yorker. I'm serious. If you are a New York State gun owner and you don't vote for me, you're an idiot. Let me say that one more time. If you are a New York State gun owner and you don't vote for me, you're an idiot. When they take your guns, you deserve it. That's what I'm going to tell you. You deserve it if you don't vote for me. What is wrong with you? This is what's happening now. The Republican running Lee Zeldin, that guy couldn't even be bothered to vote for the SAFE Act. Left alone. Nothing. Wasn't even there. Wasn't even there. No plan. No nothing. Republicans doing nothing. Stupid lawsuits for nothing. Meanwhile, she's sitting and making it harder to get a gun. There's at least 3.5 to 4 million gun owners in New York State, if not 6 million, who lost their firearms in the accident. At least. If you don't vote for me, you deserve losing your guns. I'll tell you to your face. When you're carrying, I'll still tell you to your face because I don't care, because you still deserve it. Why would you ever not vote for me if you're a gun owner in this state? You're insane. You have a mental problem or something's wrong with you.
For example, if you have a history of dangerous behavior, you shouldn't be able to get a gun.
If you have a history of dangerous behavior, you shouldn't get a gun. And dangerous behavior, that's not vague at all, is it? This is what she wants now. Now I don't even have to have facts or data. You just have to have a history of dangerous behavior. So when you were 17, you did something stupid. You no longer get to have a firearm. You can't defend yourself anymore. That's how that works.
Full stop, period.
Period.
It's just common sense.
It's just common sense. You made a mistake when you were 18. You can never you lose your rights now in perpetuity. That's just common sense, guys. I don't know why you're so angry.
We're updating our safe storage laws in anticipation that more people, because of this decision, will be able to be certified to have a concealed carry permit. And that means a lot of guns are transported in cars.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said that you could drive your car into the city or around, someplace with a gun. Not even that now. You're walking. You got to be walking. That's it, I guess. You're walking.
That's where
maybe I have a helo.
And they can steal them. So you have to be able to demonstrate you can lock them up in your car.
You have to be able to demonstrate you can lock them up in the car. What if you can't? What if you make a mistake? Yeah.
A high percentage of stolen guns are taken from stolen cars, as well as in homes. I mean, right now, the majority of, I think it's 67,000 permit owners in the state of New York have their permits limited to residential for their own protection, safety, their families. We are saying that we're changing the law from homes that have children 16 and under are required to store the guns in a safe place to 18-year-olds again, because we are seeing a real increase. Because
being an adult doesn't really mean anything anymore. Because being an adult doesn't mean anything anymore. And let's not make our kids more responsible. Let's make them less responsible. Let's make parents even more responsible for our kids' stupid actions. That makes sense.
And suicides from teenagers and the accessibility of unlocked.
Yes, suicide. Absolutely. So why don't we deal with that issue?
Up firearms in the home is a point of danger for them, so it's necessary. We're also fixing something. We're updating our definition of body armor.
Oh, this is great. They already outlawed body armor. So now they're going to upgrade definition of body armor. Okay.
Almost soft or hard body armor that protects against gunfire and prohibiting the sale except for those who need it for their performance.
Wow, so basically anything that could be used. So if you decide I'm worried or scared someone might shoot me, and you take up like some, I don't know, a couple of plates and some cardboard, and you put some tape around your body and say, I don't want to get shot or stabbed, they're going to say, that's body armor, off to jail. Off to jail. So they're making it harder to defend yourself. Harder as all. There's still violence.
And finally, as I've said before, strengthening our gun laws doesn't just mean adding new ones.
You're right. You go out of the way.
We went back and looked at our laws because I had a lot of questions about ammunition.
Ammunition.
To that ammunition database, what could there be a background check for ammunition?
Oh, so now you got to have a background check to buy ammo on top of it. She thought that was a good idea. Background check to buy ammo, because all that gun violence that we have in New York City, making us like number 25 when it comes to gun violence in the country, when it comes to actual murder in the city, in the country, when the 25, not 5, 25, when it comes to that, all of that, all the damage and stuff that we see, that's because people weren't doing background checks when they bought ammo. Because the people who follow the laws and who would get a background check to purchase a gun and who would get a background check to buy ammunition, they are statistically, talking about data and stats, they're not committing crimes. Legal gun owners, statistically, are less likely to commit a felony. to commit a felony, to become a felon. They are less likely to commit a felony. So if your logic and your stats are so good, the more legal gun owners there are, the less felons we will have. Isn't that your data you were talking about? But no, let's make it harder for people who are doing things legally. This is all this is. Wow.
We're trying to figure out how to make sure we get things right here.
No, you're not.
In our review, we determined that there's actually an old MOU that was signed related to ammunition sales.
An MOU, by the way, is a memorandum of understanding. That's like a precursor to a contract. You very often, when people are considering a contract or a deal, they put together an MOU, a memorandum of understanding, which kind of says, here's what we're thinking about for our contract.
After laws were passed a decade ago, is an administration document between the prior administration and the Senate Republicans, and it blocked the state from taking critical measures to keep ammunition away from criminals.
So we want to keep ammunition. All right. Does anyone believe that any law, was this again, that any law can keep ammunition away from criminals? Criminals, people who break the law. Do we understand what she just said? And she said it with a straight face, like, you dummies will believe this, won't you? You dummies will buy that. And the dummies in it there are literally dummies in there that's going, yeah, give me some more. That tastes great. Keep feeding that garbage to me. It's delicious. Literally, what law, her words, will keep ammunition out of the hands of criminals? Criminals, definition, those who break the law. This is my governor. This is the forefront of our nation. This right here is the battleground state we're fighting. And some of you knuckleheads are like, I'm going to go vote for the Republican because that'll work.
So we are literally tearing it up. And New York will now require and conduct background checks for all ammunition purchases.
Because that'll work.
And we'll also be standing up in ammunition.
Here's what I know will never happen. There will never be a black market in ammunition now. Because that never happens.
Database. So law enforcement can identify and prosecute.
It's funny. William says, William says, keep ammo away from criminals. But Larry, if they make everyone a criminal, then he has to keep ammo out of everyone's hands. She is 4D chess. You're right. Look, William, I can't say you're wrong. That's just too good. Yes, that's true. If she makes us all criminals, checkmate. Correct. Absolutely. It's brilliant. It's true. She's playing like 5D chess. I messed up. She caught me on that one, William. You're right.
Criminals and comparing ammunition records against records of other databases.
What could go wrong creating massive database of people who own firearms and ammunitions and cross-checking them and such? What could go wrong?
Identifies people convicted of felonies. We're on top of this. We know this has nothing to do with lawful gun owners.
It's nothing to do with you lawful gun owners who literally are the only ones who will be jumping through all these hoops, because the illegal gun owners will not be following the law because they are illegal gun owners. It's just like definitions and stuff, isn't it? If you're an illegal gun owner, then you must go through all of these hoops. This is literally only affecting legal gun owners. And she just goes, nothing to do with legal gun owners. So she punches you in the face and goes, I'm not punching you in the face. I just saw you punch me in the face. I'm not punching you in the face. I felt it. That was your fist. It hit me in the eye. No. This is not me punching you in the face. That's what she's doing. Literally.
With them at all. These are people who've been convicted of felonies or other categories of people that should be prohibited from firearms.
Okay, if you're prohibiting them from buying firearms legally, then they're not going to buy the firearm legally.
So I'm directing the state police to move forward and work with our ITS team to move forward in establishing this, and outside consultants, whatever is going to be necessary to get this done. So So in conclusion, after all that news, and thank you again for your patience.
Yeah. And you know what's going to happen? What I'm also, no one's going to do? No one's going to leave New York State and buy ammo. That's not going to happen. No one will do that. They'll just stay here and buy it that way. No one is going to go do that.
The Supreme Court's decisions were certainly setbacks, but we view them as only temporary setbacks.
Of course.
Because I refuse, as I've said from day one, I refuse to surrender my right as governor to protect New Yorkers from gun violence.
Did you hear that? I refuse to surrender my right as governor to protect all citizens. Where is that right come from? Is it written down someplace? Did someone tell you that? Did you take an oath? No, you just made it up. Literally, you made that up, and now you're calling it a right. I have a right for people to give me $1 million every day. That's my right, and I'm not letting you take away my right. Where's it written down? Nowhere. I just made that up. And I'm like you. You make up rights. Me too. I have a right for people to give me $1 million every day. And if you don't do it, New York State has to give me $1 million every day because that's my right. I'm not letting some stupid common sense and logic take away my right that I just made up. She just said that. Where in the world does she have that right? You've heard me say it before if you hear me talk about her. I can't stand it. It's a pet peeve of mine that she uses the word right all the time. Now, if you're just a regular person walking around the street, me and you, whatever, using that word, yeah, so what? My rights, I got a right to this. What's your right to that? It's fine. She's the executive of the 4th largest state in the union. Rights matter when she says it. Doesn't matter if you and I are just saying it. I got a right to your chicken. Okay, we're joking. Who cares if you get my chicken? If she says that, that's a problem. That's an issue. Everything's a right for her. Everything is.
Or any other form of harm. We're not going.
Or any other form of harm. She has a right to protect us as New Yorkers from any form of harm. Well, she should come to my house and check my water in case it's too hot. I might get my fingers burned. Where have you been, Governor? I'm going to go wash my hands later. You might want to check the water in case it's too hot. That's some harm on my fingers. Don't want me to get burned. What? Why does no one stop her on this? What's wrong with her?
Backwards. They may think they can change our lives with the stroke of a pen, but...
No, only you can do that. Let's be clear. The Supreme Court may think it can change our lives with a pen. No. Only she can do that with things like lockdowns and everything else she did. And getting rid of all your guns and putting you in jail. She can do that. Psh, that's for her. That's not for some illegitimate Supreme Court.
We have pens too.
You do have pens.
And that draws from the office of the governor of the state of New York. And I intend to fully exercise those rights, working with our partners in the legislature.
You made those rights up.
Freedoms and to keep New Yorkers safe.
See, she cares about protecting our freedoms. You know, look, go in your cage and you'll be free within your cage. Life is good.
So as some of you will have a delayed start to your 4th of July weekend, let us not forget what this holiday means.
Oh, tell me, what's holiday mean?
It's to honor.
Oh, she doesn't know. She said it's
the founding of a great country.
Yeah.
That cherished the rights of individuals.
It does cherish the rights of individuals. You don't, but the country in theory does.
Freedoms and liberty for all.
For all.
I am standing here to protect freedom and liberty here in the state of New York.
Wow. Wow. Let me give you 15 minutes on how I'm going to take away all your rights. And then after I'm done giving you the details of how I'm going to take away all your rights. Now, the only right that matters is not that dumb, illegitimate Supreme Court, but my right to protect you from all forms of harm whenever I deem it required. Then I'm going to tell you how much I care about your rights. And let me be very clear about this. Most New Yorkers are okay with that. That is an important piece. Most New Yorkers are okay with this. We have a lot of work to do. a lot of work to do. This is not an easy thing. This is difficult to do. And you might go, to hell with those people. They are voting your rights away. You can't tell them to go to hell. You've got to get them to realize what they're doing is wrong and bad. Insulting them is not going to work. Going to hell with them is not going to work. Let me say this one more time. For those of you who might not have been here or didn't hear me. Last Tuesday was a primary election in New York State. In New York State, in the primary, she had 3 people running with her, a 3-way race. Republicans had 4. She, in her 3-way race, got more votes than all 4 Republicans combined. One more time. Her alone, in her 3-way race, got more votes than all 4 Republicans combined. The Republican's not going to win. It is outsider or her. That's it. And if Republicans come in second, nothing changes. They always come in second. I come in second. Everything changes. Excuse me. Anyway, so let's see. Jesse says, no, most downstairs are okay with it. You are incorrect, Jesse. All of the cities are okay with it. Rochester's behind her. Buffalo's behind her. Albany's behind her. Those are all upstate. Syracuse behind her. Utica behind her. Ithaca behind her. All upstate. It is this downstate thing, Jesse's incorrect. It's urban versus rural, not downstate versus upstate. You come downstate, you go to Suffolk County. Suffolk County's on her side. Westchester, Suffolk's not. Nassau, New York City, yes. But not Staten Island. Go to Staten Island. I'm talking about Kathy Hochul. You're gonna get an earful. So it's not downstate. It is urban versus rural. That's what it really is.
Protecting lives, protecting individual freedom of women to make decisions about their own bodies.
See that?
Because
she cares.
this, to me, is the embodiment of what it means to be an American.
What it means to be an American is to give her all the power to protect you. That's what it means to be an American.
In honor of our 4th of July weekend, I look forward to signing the legislation as soon as it's finished. Thank you very much. And any questions?
Oh,
Could you provide
questions?
examples of how this amendment will protect transgender New Yorkers in particular?
Now, let's be clear. Of everything she just said, the first question is, how will this affect the transgender community? Not that I'm against the transgender community. I don't want to punish them at all. You guys know me. You do you. You be who you need to be. Identify how you want to identify. Please be you. You know that's where I am. 100%, you know that. First question, she just said, here's how I'm going to rip your rights away. First question, transgender rights. What? Yes, first question.
And are you worried about any legal challenges over free speech concerns with the gun law in regards to requiring applicants to provide information about their social media accounts?
All right, now this is a good question. She says, are you worried about legal challenges? Here's the thing. The reporter is not against this idea. She's like, are you going to be ready for it? Or are you ready for any legal challenges when it comes to the First Amendment, when you're going to be asking people, the new laws now to make it harder for you to get a firearm permit, is you have to surrender your social media accounts to them. They have to see your social media accounts. Yes, that's the new thing. So now you're going to be judged on your social media now if you want to get a gun. So I guess you better have a couple of accounts that are your good ones so you can show them that and not the other ones. Otherwise, you can't get it. And he's like, what about First Amendment? I hope you're going to be she doesn't think it's a bad thing. She's like, are you ready in case they come at you?
We believe that we have, let me answer the first question. The amendment prohibits discrimination based on ethnicity, national origins, age, disability, or sex, which includes pregnancy and pregnancy outcomes, sexual orientation, gender identity and expression, and reproductive health care and autonomy. That's on the top of existing protections against discrimination based on race, color, religion, or creed in the Equal Protection Law. So we talk about gender identity and expression in the
there we go.
Equality Amendment. And with respect to the second question, What was the second question?
Yeah, I was just
It's a long
wondering if
night.
there's any
Who cares? That's that First Amendment unnecessary. That was the gender one I was all about. But the other, what's that other stupid one about the First Amendment or whatever? Your dumb free speech. God protects all your freedoms. Stop.
like examples of like instances where like transgender New Yorkers could get more like protections? Like, is it like in the workplace or things like that? Or, and the second question was about the gun law. If you're worried about legal challenges over free speech issues by requiring applicants for permits to provide information about their social media
Right,
accounts to
yeah.
assess their.
Yeah, social media accounts.
I will
Yes.
talk about that first. And Robin, do you want to answer about the transgender? Then-
Sure. So,
Yeah.
I mean, the point of this was to make sure that that community was represented and protected. So I think, also the state has done a lot of other work to protect.
Holy cow. Look, again, you guys know I love my transgender community. I'm on board 100%. You know I'm on board. On board. The whole thing. She will not answer the first. She'll just stay on gender the entire time. Wow. Wow. Jonathan's like, well, I'm a libertarian and make it known on social media. I guess I'm not getting a gun. Correct. Correct. Yes. William says red flag laws will affect trans people more because they are at a high risk for self-harm. That's a valid point. That is a valid point. So yes, I guess I maybe should bring that up. Valid point. That's a valid point. Maybe we do. Look, trans people get to defend themselves too, right? Trans people, just people, they get to defend themselves also. Absolutely.
Protect transgender people. So
Okay.
we'll continue to do that.
And we have very strong laws on the books to protect the transgender community, and we'll continue updating them as circumstances change. But we passed gender just a few years ago, and
We'll not touch First Amendment at all. Just dodge that whole thing. Kendall says, talked about taking rights away, then broke the 4th of July. Yes. And the best part about this, Kendall, straight face, normal, all good, didn't even skip a beat.
have some of the toughest laws in our nation to protect their individual rights and freedoms. And with respect to social media,
Oh, finally. Okay. She has no. She's like, yeah, I'm kind of just taking your way. I'm just, what are you gonna do? You used to have. Look, if I can take away your Second Amendment rights, I can take away your first two. Like, I'll take them both away.
What we are doing here is adapting our ability
Yeah.
to protect citizens of the state based on changing circumstances. That's what flexibility means. That's what the ability to adapt means.
See, we're just flexible. We're just taking your First Amendment rights and we're adapting them. That's all. And we're being fluid with them. All good. What's your problem?
And with the advent of social media and how we saw
Yeah.
a very horrific and chilling example of
So
how
now it's gonna make you scared.
the proliferation of hate speech and concepts like white
No answer.
supremacy and replacement theories, how they spread so quickly like a virus.
I think we
on
should just get
social
rid of it
media
all then.
platforms, really telegraphing someone's content and what they're absorbing and how they're absorbing and what they're saying back. They sometimes are telegraphing their intent.
She didn't answer. This is a total dodge. Just dodge, dodge, dodge. No answer to the question. Dodge, dodge, dodge.
To cause harm to others.
Okay, it's the First Amendment right. You have a
And
problem?
we saw that in Buffalo.
No.
The evidence was there.
Because some guy shot people. So
the trail
no.
was there. And
No.
shame on us as a state if we don't learn.
Shame on us as a state if we don't take away all of your rights to make sure that I keep my right to keep you safe from all harm that I see fit.
From those experiences. And as I promised the people in Buffalo,
Yeah.
as we buried many of their loved ones, I promised I'd do everything I can to make sure this never happens again.
Well, not that I'm against the people in Buffalo, and their death was absolutely terrible. It is. And I get why that was important and why you wanted to put the flag at half mast and all that stuff. I do understand that. I do. My problem is there are worse things happening. And I don't want to do whataboutism, saying, well, what about this? What I want to say is they're all important. Aren't things like drug overdose more important? Homelessness more important? Well, those are important. Aren't these other ones more important? Shouldn't you be if you're going to keep us from harm, and that's nice, it's a good sentiment, not your right, but a good sentiment, you want to try, wouldn't you want to make a better environment so that people aren't committing suicide, so that people aren't, having drug overdoses? Wouldn't that be a more priority for you? As me as governor, yes, that would be my priority. If I make happier people, there will be less shootings like Buffalo. There will be less drug overdoses. There will be less suicides. Can I stop all suicides? Of course not. I wish I could. If I had a magic power, I would Thanos snap those out of existence if I could. But I can't. Can I lessen the number of them? Yes, I can. Can I lessen the number of shootings? Yes, I can. Can I lessen the number of overdoses? Yes, I can. I can lessen them. And I should. And I should be talking about those things, not what she's talking about.
One of those tools now in our toolbox is to be able to examine social media in terms of simply identifying.
She just explained why she's doing it, but didn't have any answer at all.
Appears to have been, absorbing this content, perhaps radicalized, and so it's just giving us meaning law enforcement.
Oh, note, giving us meaning law enforcement. She finally admitted that she's head of the police state. Yep, said the quiet part out loud, didn't you? This is giving me, as head of our police state, more power to crush you.
The tools that they need. Legal counsel, Liz, find anything to add on that?
I think that the Supreme Court made clear that the states have the authority to ensure that responsible and qualified individuals are able to carry weapons, and it doesn't extend to people who are dangerous or mentally unfit, and the social media would be used just to determine whether they're responsible.
You guys are all worried about them. She just said, this woman right here, some unelected person that is her crony, said that they'd only use social media only for that. When has that ever gone wrong? When has government ever used social media or anything else for other nefarious reasons? Never. So of course, I feel totally safe now.
The Supreme Court case invalidated the proper cause standard, saying it was too subjective. Mm-hmm. Now somebody's going to have to judge these social media history and determine.
Now this is a good question. This guy's on the ballies. Someone's got to judge this social media thing, don't they?
Determine that this is, extreme or not extreme. That sounds very subjective now, compared to saying that someone with a felony record or certain misdemeanors can't have a permit. So why do you think this good moral character standard, which was in state law before, can withstand future legal challenges?
There we go.
Well, first of all, the good moral character standard was not at issue in the Supreme Court. It's used in other states, and if you read the concurring opinion by Justices Kavanaugh and the Chief Justice, they affirmed the ability of states and specifically cited the shall carry states and their regimes for
look at the shall carry states have regimes. Did you see that bias and vitriol? So the may carry states, those are the enlightened states, right? They have leaders and they don't have regimes. They have leaders elected and who are going to save you. But those shall carry states, they have regimes.
Determining qualifications and who's eligible to carry a weapon. And I don't think that there's any question but that the state has the authority and the responsibility to review applicants for licenses to make sure that they are not going to pose a danger to themselves or others if they are able to get a gun. So it's all in furtherance of that. That is the lens through which the licensing agents will review the information that they have on the app.
The licensing agents, it'll be easy. It already in New York State and some counties takes 2 years to get a permit. What could go wrong?
Application, and it's it doesn't infringe any individual right to bear arms, and that's the key criteria in terms of how we approach this legislation.
You can see there's some subjectivity that is still permitted under the Supreme Court ruling.
I think we have a very clear set of eligibility criteria here.
Oh, no.
And we will have our state police and our Department of Criminal Justice Services involved. And if a licensing agent goes rogue essentially and is exercising
Goes rogue.
discretion inappropriately, what we have done in this legislation is put in an appeals process at the state level. And
'Cause
I'm
that'll
hopeful
go
and
fine.
confident that that appeals process will create a consistency across the state.
Karen?
So regarding the Equal Rights Amendment, what ultimately broke the stalemate?
Oh, what broke the stalemate? Right. There was an issue in the equality amendment. What broke the stalemate? This is great.
Language issue where nobody could really explain what the differences were. How did it ultimately come
What
together
changed?
in the middle of the night?
I'll give you one word, Dobbs. The Dobbs decision. Again, we talked about this in 2018 when we codified the Reproductive Health Act, putting the language of Roe v. Wade into our state law.
Yep.
And all the changes we've made over the years and the countless times I've spoken at rallies really over a decade.
Can't even count them.
As the advocates came, we talked about how always in New York we're going to protect these rights.
Right.
But it was more hypothetical.
Mm-hmm.
Those rights were never under attack by the Supreme Court of the United States.
Supreme Court
until
attacking
that
rights.
decision. Nothing like a crisis to galvanize people together. That's exactly what happened. So
She just said the quiet part out loud. Nothing like a crisis to galvanize people. She's right. This is what happened. Guys, if you like what I'm doing, support the campaign. LarrySharpe.com/donate to the best of your ability. Give what you can give. Every bit counts. It is important. But also something else. You want to be involved? Join the Discord. Are you on Discord? Hit that bit.ly link right there. That bit.ly link, Larry Sharpe Discord. Click that link right there. That's in the chat. Come join our Discord, see what's going on there. As always, like, comment, share. And if you want a cool shirt like the one I have on right now, head over to LarrySharpe.com/shop. Pick one up. Support the campaign so we can keep moving forward. This is only going to work if we all get together and make this work. That's the only time it's going to work. There's no other way that it could work. The team record says, lol, not letting a good crisis go to waste is something she does on the regular. 100%. But people follow her. And that's the point. Yes, people will follow her. Absolutely. Ray says, Buffalo Mash really didn't make me sick. Agreed. But can you really prevent a psychopath from doing something like that if they're determined on it? Like Waukesha, should that guy have not owned an SUV? I think you can, Ray, but not as an individual. Can you stop psychopaths from doing bad? You can. And there absolutely is data on this. I'm not making this up. If you look at details of psychopaths, psychopathy is an actual thing. There are many, many books on it. What psychopathy actually is not craziness or violence. Psychopathy is someone who lacks empathy. That's what it actually is. Will they be violent? The vast majority of psychopaths are around us every day and are not violent. They're just jerks, but they're not violent. But they're often jerks. They're not violent. What makes them become violent? The environment does. Literally, and this is literally, if you take a sociopath or a psychopath, they are basically the same thing, and you raise them with love and affection, they will grow up to be a basic functioning human being. They'll be jerks here or there because they have no empathy, but they're just going to work normal because that's how they're taught. But when you raise a psychopath or sociopath with violence, that is a recipe for prison. That's how it works. That's an important piece. So can you stop a psychopath doing something like that? Yes, if they don't want to. With the absolutely right background and right environment, less people want to do that. Because your point's a valid one. All of these mass shootings are actually public suicides. They're actually public suicides. So yes, good point. Eddie says, can you give us an update on unpaid petitioners? I can. Some of the checks actually came back from last week. Checks went out last week. This will go out again this Monday. So more checks will go out this Monday. Some more people will be off the list. We're putting out checks every Monday now. So some more will go out this Monday. A couple came back, bad addresses. I think 2 came back. So I got to reach out to those people, figure out where they are now. I don't know what happened. And then more and more will come back. So we are still putting some out. We're putting out checks we're trying to do it every Monday. So you might be on the list Monday. I don't know. I'm not physically doing it. The volunteer team is. So I don't know physically who's on the list, but more will go out this Monday and then the Monday after. So as we raise more money, as we get more money in, we are sending more checks out. So I hope that answers your question. But yes, we haven't forgotten about you. I wasn't joking when I said it. We are making it happen. I hope to get everybody paid between 30 and 60 days, as I said. I hope to have everyone taken care of by then. That is my goal. So they are going out. I hope that helps. I hope that answers your question. So yes. So, all right. Kevin says, Larry, do you have Asperger's? Just curious. Do I look like I have Asperger's? I hope not. I don't. So yes. There we go. Let's see if I can keep going down here. Logic says, wow, public suicide. Let's take with some deep thought if I've ever seen one. I actually talked about it on Joe Rogan, and I've discussed the idea of that on Rogan years ago, right, when we was first talking about it. When someone goes out and decides, I'm going to shoot all these people or kill these people, what they're actually saying is, I'm going to end it all, and I want to go out in a blaze of glory. And I'm going to teach these guys. I'm going to show them a lesson. They all know, remember, all the laws that they pass trying to capture the guy or punish the guy, they're useless. In every single mass shooting case, one of three things happens. One, the guy dies there. Two, the guy surrenders there. Three, the guy turns himself in. That's every time. That's 100% rule. They know it's over. They write notes. Literally, they put out manifestos, right? They write notes. They put it on, whatever, YouTube or whatever. I'm going to go do this thing. Bye. That's a public suicide. So my point earlier, I mentioned the idea of dealing with someone's problems and situation to make them not want to commit suicide is how we stop this from happening. And that is a deeper, tougher thing to deal with. It's not easy at all, but it's the right answer. So yes, it actually is a public suicide. I'll show you the piece later on if you want to. If you go to check out my Joe Rogan, there's a Joe Rogan piece where I actually talk about public suicides. It's a chunk if you want to look at it. So yes. Let me keep going here if I can. Grab a couple more. James says, I'm definitely joining the Larryship Discord. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, absolutely. Danny says, going to get my shirt and yard sign next week. Thank you. Rocking and rolling. 100%. Trying to make this stuff happen. We do have to keep going. Yes. All right. Let's see here. Dave says, translation, only rich people should carry a firearm. And cops, right? And cops too. Yes, both. Morgan says, the war on drugs and poverty have a lot to do with it. Stigma around drug use doesn't make it easy to seek help. Yes, yes, and yes, Morgan. 100%. Yes, yes, and yes. Absolutely true. 100%. William says, to be honest, many OD deaths are just suicides that take years to happen. Wow, that's also very good, William. You're correct. Look, for those of you who've had an addict in your life, or maybe you were an addict yourself or still are one, whatever the case may be. No judgment. My mother was an addict. She was a convicted felon also. I know how it is to have an addict in your life. William, it sounds like you know what that is like also. It's not easy. When you have an addict in your life, the addict usually picks the substance over you, whether an addict is drugs or opioids or booze or whatever the substance is. They tend to pick the substance over you. And man, that hurts. That is painful. And when someone goes to that level, and when it's illegal, which goes back to what the other gentleman was saying, Morgan was saying about the war on drugs. Now, if the substance is illegal, if it's alcohol, at least it's legal. So that makes it easier. Still hard, don't get me wrong. Alcohol addicts are hard to deal with also. I mean, it's a tough spot no matter what. Whatever you're addicted to is a problem. But if it's illegal, it's even harder. Because now you can't even go to your friends and family because you're all on your own. And you slowly watch yourself collapse. You watch yourself lose your house and lose your friends and lose your car and lose your job. You begin to lose, and lose your health and lose your good looks and lose your everything. And you start feeling like a loser because you're losing everything and you feel like a loser. And at one point, to your point, William, the person feels like, why bother? There is no turning back. I am the loser that people say I am. And I can't go to my family and friends because they don't want to be around me because I'm always holding, and they don't want to go to jail because I'm holding because I'm the addict. So now I can't even go to my friends and family anymore. At least if I'm an alcoholic, I can still go to my family and friends. The stigma, to Morgan's point, is nowhere near as bad if your substance happens to be alcohol. I'm not saying you should be addicted to alcohol. I'm just saying if that happens to be your drug of choice, it's easier, still tough, but easier if it's a legal substance. If it's illegal, it's even harder. And they do begin to just kill themselves, William. You're right. They slowly kill themselves. You're right. Looking for the next thing, trying to escape something bad. I was very lucky that when my mom got out of prison, I was there for her to get her out of it, and she was clean for decades. So I was lucky. A lot of people, they don't get that, and their only way out is death or prison forever. Yes, absolutely. So, tough one, I know. Yes. Dave says, is New York State seeking the death penalty in the shooting in Buffalo? There's no death penalty in New York State, so no. However, the Republican Zeldin said his answer to this was, we need to reinstate the death penalty for mass shooters and cop killers. That was his answer. Yet I've just said, and we've shown you, that these mass killings are literally public suicides. So death penalty, not going to stop them. They're kind of already. Yes, absolutely. So absolutely. Let me see if I can go here for a couple more here. Guys, thank you so much. Jean says, looks like she actually believes everything she says. You know, this is the part that I'm unsure about her yet. When I watched Cuomo versus de Blasio was a true believer. He actually believed what he was doing was helping. I mean, it wasn't. He was a terrible, terrible mayor. But in his mind, he was like, yeah, I'm the best. I'm helping. Cuomo didn't care. He was just saying stuff to be cool and hot, and he just thought he was the best guy in the world. Total narcissist, that's all he was doing. I'm not sure if she actually buys it or not. Part of me thinks she does. Like, she's like, I'm here to take control and fix things. And then part of me is like, she just wants to stay in power. I don't know, Gene. I'm actually unsure. I think I need more time to kind of read her. I'm unsure. So Gregory says, no fooling, and she is literally performing the first steps to create a dictatorship. First steps? I think we're like in phase 3, Gregory. We're not like in phase 1. We're like in phase 3. We're on our way. Remember, she has 2/3 of the state with her already, like on her side. Absolutely with her already. Yes, 100%. Danny says, well, Larry already has a bisexual, gender fluid male in the mix here. So come down to the LGBT community, vote gold and Larry Sharpe. I agree, right? Sadly, one of my my team leaders in 2018 didn't come back this year. She was off doing other things, but she was trans and she was amazing. My policy lead. She was great. And the funny part is, this is a true story. If any of you want to check out the homework on this, I think it was State and Country, the newspaper. They did an audit of all the campaigns in 2018. Mine, the Green Party, Sam Party, Democrat, Republican, and they found who had the most diverse staff, and mine was the most diverse staff when it came to both gender, when it came to race, when it came to everything. We were the most diverse staff, and I don't have quota system. Like I didn't go, well, okay, got to find one person who's that. I picked the best talent I could find in the Libertarian Party, and we happened to be the most diverse. Then it was great. So yes. My staff started very diverse this time, but since we've been having to fight so much on ballot access, a lot of the people and internal battles in the LP, we're not as diverse as we were last time. A lot of people who were in the LGBT community have actually walked off the campaign. They've gone other things, left, got tired, whatever. So we have lost a couple, disappointingly, but it is what it is. I do appreciate it, though. Thank you, Danny. So, all right, let's see here. The DSG label says, to be fair, only 15% voted in the primary. Yes, but I don't care about the numbers who voted. I care about the percentages. The people who vote in the primary are paying attention, right? The people vote in the primary are, at least true believers, or they care about their party, right? So whatever percentage did it, remember, whatever that percentage is, the reality of it is the amount of people who voted in the primary, one Democratic candidate got more than all 4 of the Republican candidates. I don't care if that's a percentage or not. Let that percentage continue on, and now the Republican loses by 30 points, which is what happens every year. The Republican loses by 30 points. Yes, absolutely. So agreed, and I'm not sure it actually matters in this case if I'm making any sense. So yes. All right. Let me see if I can grab here a little bit. Kevin says, thank you for answering my question. Yes, I try to answer questions the best of my ability. I try to. So yes. Will I be going back on Joe Rogan? I plan to coming up here in about a month or so. That is my plan to make sure everything goes together. We hope we can make that happen. That is my hope. So we will try to make that happen if we can. Guys, if you can, like, comment, share. I bug you all the time. Also, if you can, do me a favor, donate. It does matter. And of course, head over to Discord if you can. It does matter. If you can shop, pick up something, it does matter. And of course, you probably noticed I have it in there, the World's Smallest Political Quiz. Support my sponsor. That's free. You go there, take the World's Smallest Political Quiz. If you have some friends who think they might be more libertarian, have them take the quiz. They might be more moderate than they think. They might be more libertarian than they think. You never know. My sponsors, they're happy. They want people going to the site. Please go to the site, take the quiz, and share that link within the within other social media places. It would help tremendously. If you can share this one, it would help tremendously. Every little bit's possible. Every little bit you possibly can do is going to help. Guys, thank you so much for today. I will see you all very soon.